Real case. American woman sexually assaults 40 male corpses. Can you believe that there are people who are attracted to corpses? Can you believe that there are people who dare to engage in sexual activities with corpses? This is a real case that happened in the United States. And the perpetrator is one of the most notorious necrophiliacs in America. Karen Greenlee was born in Sacramento, California, and later became an apprentice embalmer at a funeral home. It was in this funeral home that she engaged in unspeakable acts with multiple corpses. On December 17, 1979, Karen was driving a hearse to transport a body. The deceased in the vehicle was a 33-year-old man named John Mason. However, on that day, John's family, who were waiting at the cemetery for the hearse, noticed that it hadn't arrived even though the burial time had passed. Thinking that there might have been an accident involving the hearse, John's family immediately called the police. On December 20th, the police finally found the missing hearse and discovered Karen, barely alive, lying in the driver's seat. Next to him was a long letter. The coffin and the body were intact and stored in the hearse. After receiving medical treatment, Karen was revived. However, strangely enough, the police immediately arrested him upon his awakening. Why did they arrest Karen? Shouldn't he be the victim? It all started with the letter found next to Karen. In the letter, Karen expressed remorse for his actions. When he saw the body in the coffin, his perverse desires resurfaced. So he drove the hearse to a secluded place and engaged in unspeakable acts with the corpse. Perhaps John Mason never imagined that he would be able to experience pleasure even after his death. After Karen finished his activities with the corpse, he began to feel overwhelming regret. He then wrote a 4-page letter of repentance detailing his encounters with 40 corpses. After completing the letter, he took an overdose of pills and attempted suicide. Karen initially believed that the letter would serve as his final confession after his death, but he never expected to survive and incriminate himself in the process. Ultimately, the letter became evidence used by the police to prosecute him. After investigating, the police discovered that Karen had been suffering from severe depression for many years. Once, when Karen couldn't cope with certain issues, he went to the cemetery to commit suicide. Coincidentally, he found that the morgue door was unlocked, and there lay a handsome man. For some reason, Karen's desires drove him to engage in sexual activities with the corpse. After experiencing pleasure from this encounter, Karen couldn't control his urges and began searching for corpses to satisfy his desires. To facilitate his actions, he rented a house near the funeral home and would sneak into the funeral home at night to select fresh corpses. Although he had a few close calls, he managed to escape before being seen, as he would leave before the faces of the corpses were revealed. In the end, Karen was not sentenced because there were no specific charges that could be brought against him at the time. Hell is empty, and demons are among us. As the saying goes, may the deceased rest in peace. However, Karen subjected the deceased to further humiliation even after death, trampling upon their dignity. A friendly reminder: if we have an illness, we should seek treatment and not delay it. Otherwise, it may eventually affect our mental well-being. The world is full of wonders. That's all for today's story. See you in the next episode.